Hi folks, we're here today to talk about our new 211 center console Key West. This is a new model for us. We're real proud of it, and I'm going to try my best to show you the features and benefits that show you why. Starting up here in the front end of the boat, we have one of the safety features that are incorporated on every Key West boat. Things as simple as a pull-up cleat. Now, you wouldn't hardly think of that as a safety feature, but if you have a cleat that's fixed and you catch your finger or your toe on it, you could not only hurt yourself, but you could be tripped up and fall over the boat and fall in the water. Of course, that's bad. You don't have anything to catch your fingers or toes on. That's a safety feature. Safety is one of the most important things that we emphasize in Key West boats. Everything from the flotation to the cleats. Along the same vein of a pull-up cleat, we have flush mount hinges on every lid in the boat and flush mount latches so that everything on the boat is below the surface. You don't have anything to catch your toes and fingers on. Behind the pull-up cleat anchor locker, we introduced top-load anchor lockers on our boats in 1992 in the 1720 center console. So we've got a good long history of top-load anchor lockers. The industry today has almost gone entirely towards top-load anchor lockers because of the convenience, the function of these particular designs. The anchor drops right in. The anchor is standard on our boats. Every Key West boat comes standard with an anchor that fits that anchor locker. Inside that anchor locker, we have another cleat that you can tie your anchor rope off on. I tie the end of the rope on that so when I throw the anchor out, I don't lose my rope, and then I can tie off the right length on that cleat that's down inside there. The anchor lid has a notch right here to allow that anchor rope that's tied off inside to come out and over the bow of the boat. And you can tie that off on that cleat there if you'd like to. Anchor comes with every Key West boat. That's a standard feature. It's fitted to that built-in anchor locker. Fits right down inside here. We've got tie downs to hold it in place. There's plenty of room underneath there. Finished lids. The backside of all these lids are finished. This is a two-part mold process. It gives us a very clean finish, higher quality appearance, and higher quality products. As we move on back on this, we have a relatively high front deck in this boat. That relatively high deck enables us to have a lot of room in these storage compartments. We've utilized all that room by dropping these liners that we put inside there down deep into the boat. That gives us room to put these storage bags that normally you got to stuff down in there to make it fit. But this drops right in there, the lid closes, the latch works without any fumbling. Another good feature, I think. Now, again, the finished lid on the back side. Another thing this relatively high deck enabled us to do was to put a fish box inside the boat. Most of the complaints I've heard in this size boats, nowhere to put the fish. We don't have anywhere to put the fish unless we put a carrier board cooler on the boat. This one we've incorporated a fish box. This is insulated, drains overboard. We've got plenty of room in there. It's over 4 feet long, so even a good day fishing, you can put your fish inside this fish box. While I've got that lid open, notice the trough here. That trough extends all the way around that lid. All the water that gets on this deck will collect in that trough and is directed into the cockpit where it can drain harmlessly overboard rather than down inside your boxes. We've got steps molded into this front deck so that it makes it easy for you to step up on top of that front deck. This elevated deck is a great place to throw the cast net, fly fishing, those kind of things, and that's another reason for having no hang-ups, the cleats to pull up and down, the hinges that are flush with the lids so that you don't have anything to get hung up on when you're throwing your cast net. The rail, bow rail, it's recessed down into a molded out place on the boat. It's not put on as an afterthought. It's perfectly accessible when you want to hang on to the boat, but out of your way when you're throwing that cast net or that fishing line. People that want to ride up on the front of the boat, passengers sitting here, you've got an easy hand hold right here on both sides so the passengers can sit up here. We've got an optional bow cushion as well that you might like to get. The seat on the front of the console is a standard feature on the boat. This seat, when you don't need it, folds down out of the way to give you easy access around the front end of the boat for your fishing day. And when you do need it, maybe you're up here rigging your baits or something, and it snaps back up in place. You can put 1 or 2 people on there depending on how good a friend you are. 2 adults can sit on the front of that boat. The console, I think it's an attractive console, but beyond being attractive, it's functional. We've got a nice lip built in here If you want to throw something up on top of that console, which I almost always do, whether it be a bag of potato chips or a bait, I usually forget that, take off, it falls off. This lip holds it up on top of that console. Next area here, this flat area, this is big enough to let you install the flush mount instruments that are popular today. So you can put your GPS, your VHF radio, your depth finder, all of that can be incorporated into this area here, allowed for your flush mount instruments. The compass that you see here is standard on every Key West boat. We feel like every boat needs a compass, so it's standard on every boat from a 15-footer up to the 29-footer. We've got trim tab actuators right here. Trim tabs are not necessary on this boat, and what I mean by that, the boat doesn't need trim tabs to run properly. A boat that needs trim tabs to run properly is an ill-designed boat. This boat does not need them. They're there simply to level that load and maybe to modify the angle of attack into a head sea. Tilt steering wheel, again, this is an option on the boat. It may be what you want on yours. It's a fairly inexpensive option. I like it. It gets the steering wheel at the right angle so that you can easily get to that wheel. Inside the console, we have a nice access door over here, so the average size adult can step down inside that console and stand up, change clothes, use a porta potty, whatever you need to do inside your console. Also makes a great storage area. Move on back to the leaning post. This leaning post is a standard feature in our boat. It's a full featured leaning post. Rocket launchers. We've got the toe step back here so you can reach up and get the rods in and out of the rocket launchers on the T-top. Cooler is standard under there, so it enables you to have another fish storage area or the necessary drinks and food that you're going to bring on board. Seating options in this boat, if you don't want a leaning post, not everybody does, captain chairs are available as just an equal swap out. You can opt for those with no extra charge, or a cooler seat. Cooler seat has the flip-flop backrest. Some people like the ability to be able to sit down from a non-elevated position like a leaning post. The bolsters we see here, standard equipment on this Key West. Most of the larger Key West boats, they are standard equipment. The molded in rod racks that you see on the gunnels, these rod racks will hold a full 8-foot rod without having to use the rod tubes that are up in the front. If you're able to put a full 8-foot rod in there, when you need that rod, access to get it in and out of that rack is very quick and simple. You know, if you've got a schooling fish out here and you want to be able to get this particular rod out in a hurry, you don't want to fight with that tube that you got to fish the rod tip in and out of. 8-foot rods fit in there without any need for tubes. We do have tubes up there for the guys going to use that 9-foot fly rod, so we can accommodate those 9-foot fly rods. As we work our way into the back of the boat, we've got a live well incorporated into the middle of the splash area here. This is a 30-gallon live well. 30-gallon is plenty for most live bait fishing situations. This live well is all but completely out of the way in the boat. Clear lid. If you put baits in there and you have a dark lid, when you close that lid, it's dark inside your live well. Open the lid, the baits will dart. When they dart, they bump their noses, those kind of things. The bait doesn't last as long. So a clear lid, there's no shock when you open that lid to get your baits in and out there. Plus you can keep a visual account of your bait so you can see if they're distressed or whatever. Notice we've got a nice handrail built in around this. Cup holders incorporate into that, so that the passengers that are sitting back here in these seats have something to hang on to. It's a calm day, you can put some drinks inside these cup holders. The framework on these seats right here is substantial enough for an average sized adult to ride in that without breaking that framework. I've seen some that if you put an adult in there, ride through some rough water, it will collapse with you. These seats pull right out. You can store them inside the console or leave them home. On a day when you're going fishing, you might want easy access to the back end of this boat. This enables you to have that. Plus, when you pull them out, you open up 2 more rod holders. You know, you can't have too many rod holders on a fishing boat. These seats are standard features on this boat. The hydraulic steering that you see on this boat, every boat that we build rated for 150 horsepower or more comes standard with hydraulic steering. It's another safety feature we incorporate into all of our boats. In case you fall in, you may not think about it, but you need to get back in the boat. Telescoping ladder, this is a 3-step telescoping ladder that swings down. It's easily accessible from outside the boat. So when you need to get back in, it telescopes down, and even an overweight guy can crawl back in the boat unassisted. That pretty well covers it front to rear. I guess it's time to take a test run.